Hi folks, today's video is from one of our most recent podcasts involving training. Has to do with dry firing and specifically the SIRT or shot indicating resetting trigger device. Mike Hughes from Next Level Training was with us with our last podcast to explain about the benefits of SIRT training. This device and the devices similar were developed by shooters for shooters to complement your live firing, not replace it. So there's great stuff here, folks. Stay tuned. We're also going to be incorporating this device into our online course that we're developing. So stay tuned for that as well, folks. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Nate from Crosshair Tactics. Today we have a great episode lined up for you. We have Mike Hughes from SIRT Training. Mike, I'm going to let you go ahead and roll with this. Let us know what you got and how to use it.
Super, Nate. Super, Jeff. We had a great interview right now. People should definitely listen to their podcasts and kind of get into a lot of details. But as far as being visual and being able to interface with your clientele, the people you touch, let's talk about the SIRT pistols a little bit. I mean, developed it for my own purpose, just to have a high volume self-diagnostic training tool. And out of that self-centeredness, after 13 years, we've got quite a lineup here, but some of the basics of this essentially is completely inert. Go boom, and there's some functionality of having a resetting trigger and then a shot indicating laser, hence shot indication resetting trigger SIRT training pistol. All right. There's also a take-up laser. So this is our 115C has functional features of a Glock 19. These are just beautiful, beautiful guns. Sights, you can hit mag changes, but you also have a prep laser. So when you prep, you take up the slack. Okay, you get a red laser, and then when you break, you have a shot indicating laser. There's a ton of training, okay, as far as safety and performance that you can do on your own, and also do with the instructors. That involves around the utilization of those lasers and the way they work. Just real quick one is you want to have prep, break, reset, and re-prep. Okay, so you basically want to keep the lower red laser on while this upper laser gets nice clean dots on target indicating good trigger mechanics. Okay, that's just some basics, but a lot of your training you turn that off. And I don't know if you guys know this too, but you can actually, there's a tool in the base to adjust the lasers, so it's right on your sights. Make sure your sights are centered up and proper, and then of course you can turn that take up laser off and just have shot indication. So that's another way to rule on that. So yeah, that's the first model. That's the first kind of general aspect. If you guys chime in, just feel free to cut me off. But we have different models. Like, of course, this is our 110 Pro. So this is like a full size Glock 17-22 functional features of that unit. If you run in like small pistols, like a lot of the small compact pistols are very similar in feel as far as your training go and the grip angle. Our pocket pistol is available. This is an optic mount, but just to kind of work a very, very compact pistol, like whether it's a car or a shield, the Wildcat. I mean, they're all kind of shockingly similar, with the exception of the extension down here, where we do have different extensions: a short, extended, and a hook one. So it's kind of Glock 43-esque. So we have that platform, and of course, a good old M&P, which is still out there as far as the grip angle and the functional feel of that. And
Mike, if you don't mind, you can just show the rail system, which is really cool too.
Yeah. The rails are on all these. If you want to go with optics, if you want to mount lights, and of course, with this is a functional features of a SIG 320 called the SIRT 20. The full size. So if you carry that platform, kind of popular in some departments, you have that as well to kind of hone in your natural point of aim with your and holster ability and all the practicalities of lining up with your particular platform.
Thank you. So real basic, and we have already talked about it in the podcast that people can listen to, but in a visual form. Just real quick, and some of your videos are fantastic. We do a lot of concealed carry. I know that you had appendix. Just have it kind of tucked in. You want to just show real briefly how, we we get that out, you get it on target, we get that shot off, and how that repetition then works.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great. So, I mean, essentially, you look a lot about this, like, okay, why do I need a SIRT pistol? I already got a live fire pistol. Okay. Well, the big thing is just getting the repetition and a manipulation. When you go to the range, you got to work recoil management, slide lock stimulus, and malfunction recognition and clearance. Okay, you have to work that on the range, like absolutely. And you want to verify your techniques on the range. But off the range, think of all the manipulation. Like, think I'm seated right now. What about a seated draw? All right, of drawing, the boom, out, establishing grip, maybe a compromised shooting position. Work a little index shooting on a close target. Work some trigger control, some strong hand only. Okay, work some sighted fire with a very far, difficult target across my room. Get a dot, not a dash. I mean, all those manipulation skills you can train in incredibly high volume at your convenience, and do it in short trainings too. Do it in uncalibrated trainings, like just 20-second trainings throughout the day. Just have it on the desk. This is inerts. Okay, just get your spouse okay with it. In fact, get him or her trained up with it as well, and just get these quick trainings in. Be fearless. Build your natural point of aim to where with 100% certainty you can hit combat accuracy, defensive accuracy at your skill, 8 yards, 100% of the time, uncalibrated, unwarmed up. So that's kind of I guess I'm touching a little bit on the.
Mike, I liked how you talked about the sitting position, because a lot of people, they'll train from the standing position. But what about when you're sitting in your vehicle? How much driving do you do throughout the day? And it's very hard to draw your firearm in the seated position, especially in your vehicle, because you have your seatbelt in your way. You usually have seatbelts over top of whatever shirt is covering your firearm. It's really difficult to get to your firearm while you're driving.
Well, manipulating a seatbelt and all that. I mean, so you come home and or you have a garage, just work a little bit of practical manipulation skills. And
please don't try to draw that weapon in traffic. To see what you do.
So we prefaced all this before in the podcast and in all our trainings, but we should mention it again. Everything has to be done in a safe manner. We treat everything like it's a firearm, so we always are careful. We understand the backdrop and all those other things, and identifying that if we are going to use this tool, that there are no functioning firearms in the area, so we can never, ever, ever access a working firearm when we're dealing with training with our inert laser pistol.
Absolutely.
So
and
layer those out there.
Yeah, no weapons confusion. Yeah, and particularly in force-on-force training, but even in your own private training, just have a set routine, just as you said, like, because I mean, the problem there too is weapons confusion. If you go on autopilot and all of a sudden you just do a quick draw and you have your live fire gun, and the better you are, the more likely are you can actually make a catastrophic mistake. So, out of abundance of caution, dry fire in your home area and an exterior corner wall. That's some ballistic properties, not with your kids, the wall with your kid's bedroom behind, so.
Always identify, and we always say we double, triple check that there's no ammunition even, let alone a working firearm. So our training spaces should always be separate from any live firearm ever, always, and forever. Okay, so that we've said and covered. Real briefly, one thing which is really cool, you had pointed it, you showed us, we saw the light. Can you just explain visually that this isn't something that, as long as we're not staring at it and doing it right in somebody's eye, that this is a safe training tool?
Yeah, no, most certainly. Yeah, so they're class 3A lasers, and the way I think it's the FDA that classifies those, like laser pointers and such, are sub 5 milliwatt, but your blink response is quick enough, just practically before any permanent damage can be done. So if you're doing force on force and there's incidental contact with lasers in the eyes, that just won't be problematic. You'd have to really be in a torturous Clockwork Orange like situation, So I mean, and it's the demo. Like in my gym here, there's a mirror. Heck, why don't I show you? This would be fun. It doesn't have to be a perfect.
Okay. Cool.
There's a mirror way down there. Okay.
There you go.
This is one of my targets right here, and set up. But I can see. I'll try to get myself, a nice clean headshot, without blitzing my eyes. So I did kind of blitz
Really
my eyes there a little bit. So I think I jerked the trigger just a smidgen, on a 20-yard shot. But
Yeah, and that's with thousands and thousands and thousands of, maybe even up to 1 million with you, of practice. So
Repetition. Yeah.
there you go.
And created.
So that's what we're talking about. So we'll switch real quick for our viewers and show how you built a platform where you can now take this SIRT pistol and actually transition into an AR platform. Oh, before we do that, you just showed, and let's just talk about the removable magazine real briefly, and then we'll go to the AR platform.
Yeah. Basically you can work reloads, and then as far as slide lock, stimulus, and slide manipulation, that will be reserved for your live fire tool, like however you choose to say drop the slide in a slide lock situation. But the mechanics of a reload, and one thing I like to encourage your listeners is when you work in reloads, well, first off, well, here I'll actually, this is we haven't talked about this. This is our Refined Savage Light. I don't know if you probably don't even know about that, do you?
No, we don't. That's
No,
new to
don't know
us.
about the light one. I know the bumpers that you have, so you could put the bumper on it. So when we're doing our drills and dropping our mags, we're
Yeah.
actually have that. But
Yeah, so let's say I'm seated right now and just work something for reload. Like it's obviously it's contextual when to work a reload, but just working the mechanics of dropping the magazine and then inserting your second mag, and then continuing to depending however you want to drop the slide or that context. One thing just to note that this is a side note bonus material. Britt Lance and I, we've never been satisfied with low light solutions, because it just never made sense to me, like attaching a light and you have a narrow beam, and it was always derived from rifles, like shooting coyotes where it's narrow and overly powered, quite frankly, and you're always muzzling what you're trying to search, and I know Masada Ayub and stuff says like, well, use your other light, then use this light and switch over and stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't, okay, but I mean, I don't know. So we thought, hey, why don't we just make a light, put on the magazine, put it pointed low, you know what I mean? So you can search proper. I like the compressed tie ready personally, kind of works in swoop, but this kind of look. So, and it's a wide throw, and it's on your secondary magazine. You can put it on your primary too. So now if you want to go low light, even if you have another option, if 2 is 1, and it doesn't take up, even if you're printing, what we found is, I'm gonna, it doesn't even print as much, if I'm sitting here proper, because if I take this out, this actually prints a little bit more, you know what I mean? Then this is kind of the opposite of bomber. It's kind of weird how it works.
Really
So
like
that's Refined Savage. It's kind of bonus content. I mean, to digress here.
So real quick, I wanted viewers to see that you were able to manipulate getting the magazine out. You didn't catch it. It went on the ground because it's done with, but you were able to reload without having to look at it. So that's so important.
Yeah. I really like to, drop the mag, get your second one, just make that.
See
like
how
podcast, that sobriety test, instead of doing the state trooper one, just kind of adapt it to this. So, and then just take it so it's actually just practical, you just boom.
Yeah.
Then you get right in your grip reestablishment.
Yeah.
Change my grip to be more like Vogel's versus my traditional, but that's my journey right now. But whatever your grip establishment is, so your natural point of aim and your ability to lock down that muzzle to return it down consistently, shot after shot after shot is locked in. So
yeah, we teach the workspace being here in front. So we're working here and we're bringing the tool to the reload. That's awesome. So thank you for showing us that. If you don't mind just transitioning to how that works with your AR platform.
Yeah, indeed. So, we worked at Solutions to get some AR training, and we had the insert, the bolt, and what have you, and we didn't. What we really found is like, having an inert system is really important, because in institutions, getting the ARs out, and it's a major deal, even at the highest level. So we wanted to have a solution, but it's expensive, the trigger and the lasers and all that. So we thought, well, what if we repurpose our pistol? Okay. And it's going to fit right into our SIRT stick. And the stick stands for SIRT Tactical Integrated Carrier. Got to have the word tactical in there to be cool, right? So it's a stick, it's kind of just like a stick. It's just a real basic thing. Make sure this is open. This gets a lot of people, like they can't get it in there. You got to have this latch open.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's like the transformer, you know, Bumblebee going to work, and boom. So now you got like you know, you got shot indication. It slides out under here. The barrel's mock. You can adjust the barrel length to kind of tighten it down to match if you have a suppressor or whatever length you are, you know. And demoing on video, there's so much you can train. First off, just manipulation. Like if you know you're coming around if I'm off screen, if someone's like flagging their muzzle right around a corner, that's not good practice. So you kind of learn like, hey, you know, how do I really manipulate this to, you know what I'm talking about? Like just you know, for proper rifle manipulation based on the length, train your offset. You can see that the hit, like I can look right at the target, you know, but the offset is much lower, right? As far as where the actual bullet, at least for the few, you know, first few yards out of the muzzle for 20, 30, 40 yards. And then of course, manipulation, as I mentioned in the podcast, I can't tell you how many people don't bring the muzzle up, you know, gun up, safety down.
Yeah.
Gun down, safety up, right? I mean, just that basic. Anything else, if you own an AR, I would get a stick, you know, along with your SIRT, just to at least train that. So when it comes up, you know, your proper manipulation of the selector switch, the safety is just ground in, you know.
100%. So one thing we mentioned in the podcast that we should just kind of, even though maybe you don't have the sling available, I don't want to put you on the spot with it, but maybe you can just touch base visually about the sling idea that this now we can practice doing one a 1 point, a 2 point. You know, what are we doing?
Yeah, totally. So we do have one mount back here. It's an aluminum overmolded, so it's pretty good, a pretty good mount. Of course, you can, you know, just mount, you know, a sling, you know, within here, or we have a second one right here. It's black anodized, and then you can mount. We sell a sling, a cheap training sling. You know, it's only meant to be for live fire. To, you know, the slots up here, it's kind of like the M lock, and we have key locks in the bottom too, or key mods. I don't know. We did both. I don't know, for whatever reason, when I was designed it, you know, but it's just make both crowds happy, you know.
Outstanding.
What kind of American are you? Key lock, key lock. But yeah, but the sling is important just because it's a common deficiency of just people getting familiar with that, being able to drop it. You can try a 1 point, but you'll find out it, you know, hits the groin a lot. It's kind of you know, unless you figure that out to work for you, but vet it out. I mean, recoil management's not a big deal with the AR. So manipulation is, you know, and even just working from it, maybe take a second SIRT, but working from your, you know, dropping it and then going to your secondary, just all that training.
Transition drills. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's amazing what can be done. Yeah. So
and then compromise shooting with your rifle,
Yep.
you know, just getting on the ground and getting supine and, you know, semi-prone and all that, right? So
we can't undervalue. It's such an overvalue. It's so great of a tool that now you can have the versatility of matching it with the AR platform. You can do transition drills between the pistol and the AR, but also now we have instant feedback too, still with the lasers. Just an awesome tool, awesome thought to everything you have. Putting you on the spot. I don't know if you had grabbed your SIRT knife or not.
yeah, I don't know if I had that in my box.
That's okay. So we had mentioned that in the podcast, but forthcoming we'll be doing more videos, and you'll see that. And we've even created some videos ourselves that we'll be posting, and that Mike's going to share on his website, nextleveltraining.com. He'll show you some of these videos. They'll be available where we're using the force on force with the SIRT knife and the SIRT pistol. So
great.
Just to kind of wrap it up for people who weren't able to have the podcast, we have links that they can go to through Crosshair Tactics, Martell Training Group. There'll be packages available when we do our online course through Martell Training Group. But if they were to go to your website just directly because they said, hey, I forgot to click the link, or I didn't get the package from when we did our course, you're kind enough to offer a discount for our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think we just settled on Crosshair. I think that's open.
Okay,
That
so
would be it.
yeah, so if you're going to go directly to Next Level Training and order it yourself, Crosshair, you type that as the coupon code. Mike's been gracious enough to give us our own code for our viewers and for our participants in our trainings. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We can't tell you how honored we are to have the owner and the ultimate trainer in the tool here. Thank you. I'm going to let Nate wrap it up.
And guys, if you want to hear that original podcast video, you can go on whatever major podcast that you listen, platform that you listen on, and just go to Overwatch 5.9. It'll be the latest episode, and you'll hear Michael go through a lot of his products, and you'll be able to really get some good training out of that also. But this is the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more coming. Stay tuned. Thank you guys. Train hard. Stay safe. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.